sure that all of you heard, the Gaon Mivilna said that the Third World War going to take few seconds. And that time they couldn't understand how can it be. Today we all understand, chemical war, atomic war, and it's finished. The world is finished. Just press on a computer and it's finished. One missile from Israel, another missile from Iran, and the world is finished. Because they both have. Is that what's going to happen? Sorry? No. Anyone have any opinion? Menachem, what are you saying? No, whatever I say, I want to hear your opinion before we're going to develop that show. Sorry? Combi. Why? That's a very good. Is it recording? Oh, okay. So, let's start. בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח והשם עלינו ברחמה וירוויח. I want to share with you the idea, and I'll tell you how I'm going to go to explain what is the end of days. I'm going to go through the prophecy of Navi Yecheszkel that the Malbim explained in his commentary that he wrote on the prophet Yecheszkel. He explained what's going to happen in the end of days. Then I'm going to bring the opinion of Ari HaKadosh. And then I'm going to bring two different Gemarot that we all know about them, and we'll see what is the remedy. What can we do? So today, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to try to explain what actually is the end of days and what's going to happen. But first, let's look generally what's happened in the world. As you all see, and you all most probably can even feel it, we can even perceive it, what's happening in the world, that all the prophecy that been mentioned, that we spoke about 2 weeks ago, you remember, coming true, coming alive, one after each other. Baruch Hashem, we see from here that our Torah that we receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a live Torah. But we have to look a bit more carefully. Let's look at what's happening in Eretz Israel for the last few years. We look at all the world, what's happening. We spoke about the Arab Spring. And we'll see that it's not for nothing. Those prophecies that we brought actually stringing what we're saying. Proof that our Torah is a true Torah that came up from heaven. Not like other people say, I'm a son of a Has v'shalom of a God. God doesn't have children. Because if you have children, so you're not God. And who was before that? So who brought you alive? Do you understand? Well, but that's number one. Number two, I would like to try to explain, and we'll see that what's happening today in the world and those politicians that involved with the Arab Jewish conflict, it's not a normal conflict that there is like this anywhere in the world. And why they're mistaken? We'll prove that they're making a mistake. We all understand that from the day that the Jewish state been announced, in 1948, we didn't have 1 minute peace. You agree with me? That conflict actually should be solved. If you look at other countries that have a military conflict, they solve it. But the Jewish-Muslim conflict, you can't solve. And here we're going to prove how those politicians making a mistake. They're thinking that if we're going to give land, we're going to give help financially, like Israel doing, helping all the Muslim around, the surrounding. We see what's happening with the Hamas, that we're giving land. We're giving humanitarian help. We see what they use that. Instead of building houses, they're building tunnels. And what they do with that? To try to blow us up, to kill us. We send them financial help. What they use it? To buy weapons.
So why would you eat it?
Oh, that's the question. That's the question. That first of all we understand that from here we have to understand, here we prove that there is a mistake that the politicians are making. Because those politicians look at the conflict, the Israeli or the Jewish Muslim conflict in a wrong way. It's not a normal problem. Nachon? Because, let me explain to you. The Jewish want to make peace. The Muslim doesn't want peace. You know what they want? They want us dead. They don't care if we give them Jericho, we give them Nablus. Whatever you give them, it's not enough. And whatever you do for them, it's not enough. Because all the health that we give in and all the help that we give in been translated as one thing. You know what is it? As a weakness. Every time that the Jewish people given them land, it's been translated as a weak by us. That means that we are weak, that they can take more. Every time that the Jewish people allowed Gaza to have electricity, and you know what the bill is sitting? You know how many billions? Not million, billions. No one talk. I didn't see Egypt giving electricity, humanitarian help to Gaza. No, not even financial. I didn't see Gaza giving us anything back. What did they give us? One thing. You know what? Rocket. And rockets and rockets and rockets. Beside that, nothing else. Only headache. Let's move from the Hamas, let's move to the PLO. What did they give us? Nothing. Headache and headache and headache, murder, blowing up, nothing except peace. Sorry?
But it's still one legal. They're fighting us legally now.
Now they're fighting us legally, that's in the exterior, but in the interior, who doing all the stabbing? Who doing all what we call run over with the car? You understand? They're not sitting in peace. Don't worry about it. You can't stop them. But we have to understand one important thing. And now we're going to get to the point. Why is that? They don't want the Jewish people. They don't want us. The Malbim, Rabbi Meir Lebush Ben Michael Weiser, we explained that he born in the Ukraine 206 years ago. And his commentary on the Nabi Yecheszkel in chapter 37, he explained there. You know what he said? What's going to happen in the end of days? What is going to be the end of days? What is the end of days?
A new day.
A new life. So you missed, you came a bit late, but no.
Gog and Magog.
The Gog and Magog. What is Gog and Magog? We all heard that word, the war of Armageddon. What is it? So, the Malbim explained that the Gog and Magog, it's a war, a religious war. Rabotai, Gog and Magog. It's a religious war. And the Malbim explained that it's a war between Edom and Ishmael. That's his word. What is Edom? Is the Christian country, the Christian nation. Ishmael referring to Muslim. Nachon? So now it's going to be a war, a religious war, between two nations. Who they are? The Christian and the Muslim. So how's that affecting us? Nachon? What does that have to do with us? Why do we need it?
We living between them.
We live in between them. So,
Between all the,
so how's it going to affect
Muslims,
us?
what?
So we have to understand that the Malbim explained that, Gog and Magog, you know what, let me go to the Ari Kadosh. I'm going to bring his verse for us to understand what it means Gog and Magog. Ari Kadosh say, by the way, Ari Kadosh is Rabbi Yitzhak Luria. He born 481 years ago in Egypt. Rabbi Yitzhak Luria Ashkenazi, he born 481 years ago in Egypt. B'shar HaPsukim, the gate of the verses, he explained that if you take the word Gog or Magog, and you take the gematria of that, everyone understand what is gematria?
The number.
Gematria is the equivalent number to each letters. You follow? For example, Gimel is 3. Aleph is 1. Bet is 2. By the way, it's only you can do that, gematriot, only in Hebrew. Nachon, Meish? You agree with me? Not any other language. So he said, if you take the words Gog umagog, do the gematria 70. איך? גוג, ג' ו' ג', תעשה איתי, כמה זה?
6 ו-6 זה 12.
12, בסדר? ומגוג?
ועוד 6 ו-40, 46, 49, 52, 58.
איך יכול להיות 58? גוג ומגוג.
לא, ומגוג זה 58.
נו, ועוד מה שאמרנו.
ועוד גוג שזה 12.
70. ביול 70. So Gershon, agree with me that it's 70, ברוך השם. So גוג ומגוג, gematria 70. Why? 12 and 58 together is 70. Ari HaKadosh say that Gog umagog, gematria 70, what it means 70? What? Just like this? 70 nations gonna be involved on that war. That means it's gonna be a coalition, Rabotai. 70 nations. Okay. 70 nations gonna go to war. You know what the war gonna be about?
About the Jews.
70 nations gonna join together forces. And they're going to come and ask the Jewish people in Israel. The Malbim said, the Malbim, remember, lived 206 years ago. That's when he born. So call it 150 years ago when it said a prophecy. Where is the states of Israel was? Not even on a map. He said that going to come a coalition that's going to ask the Jewish people, and they're going to tell it. Listen, Yerushalayim is not belong to you. Jerusalem not belong to you. We want Yerushalayim.
Already Obama said Jerusalem is not capital.
Obama already says, but he didn't do nothing yet about it.
Said. It's not capital Israel.
They're all saying it. Quietly, they're all saying it. So, they're going to say Yerushalayim not belong to you. And they're going to ask us to give Yerushalayim. And the Jewish people will not agree. They're going to join coalition, Rabotai, and they're going to come up to Eretz Israel to take it from us, to conquer it. And you know what the Malbim say? And that's where it's going to affect us. That when they're going to do that coalition, they're going to come to Eretz Israel, join forces, and when they're going to get to Eretz Israel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will put conflict between them. When I say between them, that means between the Christian and the Muslim, and they're going to start killing each other. And we explained last two weeks ago why. That means that war actually going to be regarding Yerushalayim. They want Yerushalayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to bring all of those 70 nations, and we explained 2 weeks ago that those 70 nations going to be those that cause pain and harm to the Jewish people from the day that they will create and until that war. When that war going to start, it's going to be the Third World War. And that's going to be the preparation, Rabotai, for the coming of the Mashiach. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the end of days, it's not what everyone thinking that the world going to be finished, seized up, kaput. Haz v'shalom. It's going to be a preparation for a new era for the entire world. What does it mean? That when the Mashiach comes, after that war, everyone will choose for a Jewish Messiah. Now, what's the word Mashiach mean? Mashiach means to anointment. pour oil on him. And we saw it. That Shmuel HaNavi, who did he done it to? Nachon? And Shaul? Nachon? That means that, but today that we don't have a prophet, who's going to do it? There is one prophet that never died. Eliyahu? Navi, still alive. And he going to anoint the new Mashiach, and all the world going to listen to him.
Let there be something.
Sorry?
The United Nations. Even the United Nations.
The United Nations. You know what they create United Nations? They created it after the World War to try to stop any more war. Instead, it doesn't stop. Because Kofi Annan, you remember Kofi Annan when he used to be the leader of them? That monkey.
Yes.
Instead of looking after the world, caused more problem. You remember what he said about Eretz Israel, what he think about the Jews? You remember? Kofi
Who's
Annan.
Kofi Annan?
Kofi Annan used to be the chairman of the United Nations. You know, every few years they put a new dolly there to pretend that he know what he's doing. Okay. So that war, Rabotai, that war that's gonna be the Third World War between the Islam and the Christian. Okay.
And we're going to get away scot-free.
Huh?
And Israel, Jews will get away scot-free.
Oh, now I want to talk about it. How is it going to affect us? Are we going to be affected or not? So we say that that's going to be the preparation of Mashiach ben David. Nachon? So, and it's going to be a new era that everyone going to listen. But until the Mashiach come, it's going to be the pain birth of the Mashiach. It's not going to come so easily. Why? Because the Jewish people didn't done tshuva. So we can be affected badly from that war. Imagine 70 nations going to war, and you see while one little group that called ISIS, how much havoc causing in the world.
Yeah, but they're getting their weapons for nothing. Millions.
And what do you think that Hezbollah getting weapon for money? They're getting it also for free. You know how many missiles from Lebanon
100,000.
facing Eretz Israel?
100,000.
How much?
100,000.
That's it.
Only?
God forbid that the North start, the South start. Where are we going to run? Do you understand? The Hamas managed to send the rocket to Tel Aviv, to Yerushalayim. Lebanon doesn't play game because they have Iran behind them. The weapon that they have, I promise you, it will reach easily to Ashdod, if not further, to Ashkelon. So imagine that kind of, it's a situation that we don't want to think, Chas v'shalom, that's going to happen. So what's going to happen with us? How can we survive those difficult times? Now that we understand what is the end of days, how do we going to survive? I'm going to bring two Gemarot that Hazal tell us 1,500 years ago how you can survive those difficult times. The Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, in page 98, folio 1, listen what Hazal said. מה יעשה אדם וינצל מחבלו של משיח? What a person can do to survive those difficult times, the pain burst of the Mashiach. You know what Hazal said? What would you think Hazal say? You would say you should buy armored car, you should say you should buy tanks. No, Hazal didn't say that. You know what Hazal said? Listen what he said. יעסוק בתורה. What it mean יעסוק בתורה? Learn Torah. Make your Torah your business. And listen what else. יעסוק בתורה ובגמילות חסדים. You know what is it, גמילות חסדים? Kindness. That the person that will study Torah will do kindness. There is a guarantee from Hazal that those difficult times of the pain birth of the Mashiach, not going to affect them. Hazal come and tell us something even easier, but a bit more spiritual. But when I say it, it doesn't sound spiritual, but we're going to develop it. Hazal tell us in Masechet Shabbat, page 118, folio 1, Kuf Yud Het Amud Aleph. The Gemara says like this: Kol hamekayem shlosha sa'udot b'Shabbat. A person that eats 3 meals on Shabbat. What it means 3 meals? We're going to explain. ניצל משלוש פורעניות. מה זה שלוש פורעניות? 3 different disasters. 3 different disasters. And we'll see now what they are. But first let's explain the meal. Friday night is a meal. What is a meal? That you have to eat a bread, that you'd say Amotzi and Birkat HaMazon. That's considered as a meal. Friday night, Shabbos, lunch, and Sauda Shlishit. Sauda Shlishit. 3 meals that you eaten, Rabotai. You don't need more than that. It sounds not spiritual. We'll develop it. And what are they? What are those 3 disasters? Havlo shel Mashiach, the pain birth of the Mashiach. The second one, Dina shel Gehenam. What does it mean, Dina shel Gehenam? The judgment of Gehenam. And the third one, Umilhemet Gogo Magog. Yeah, the end of days. So Hazal tell us already, 1500 years ago, that the Milhemet Gog and Magog have to happen. You want to be one of those that survive those difficult times? Eat 3 meals a day. What does it mean, eat 3 meals a day? Just to eat and to bench, to fast? It's more to that. Rabotai, when you eat on Shabbat 3 meals, you declaring that there is one God. Why? Because you stop working. You're keeping Shabbat. You have peace and harmony with your family. You're sitting together with your family around the table. You're saying, I'm taking the oath that there is a creator to the world. What do we say every Friday? What does it mean? ויחלו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם. What does it mean, all צבאם? All the armies. What armies? Up in heaven, and when we do it here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, here's my children, here. They took oaths. They're keeping Shabbos. I command them to enjoy. Here they're enjoying, they're eating. But they're enjoying it on a spiritual level. Not just eating and drinking and getting drunk and throwing fridges from the 2nd floor down. You know what I'm referring to? No. And the New Year's, when New Year's come. No, we're enjoying the Shabbat. What does it mean, Shabbat? Milshon Shvita. Shvita is a strike. Don't work. Relax. I want you to strike. 1 day a week, I want you to strike. 24 hours. 25 hours, relax. Don't do any work. Strike. When we striking, you know what we're showing? That we part, remember, we part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because he said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what did he say on the 7th day? Shabbat ve'inafash, nachon? When we show that we stop that, we show that we're part of the army of who? Of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because we don't work on Shabbat. But if we work on Shabbat, we say, you're not a man of my party. Why? Because I stopped creating the world on the 7 days. You are working on the 7th day. How we can be together? So where's the covenant? By that we stop working for 1 day a week. We eating. And we become like children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, children of kings. We show that we're part of that covenant. Do you understand what does it mean? So lichora, it sounds very simple to eat 3 meals. What is it to eat 3 meals? Nothing. But it's not just the eating. It's not the food behind it. It's the spiritual meaning that can uplift us. So let's summarize what we say. That the end of days is actually a war, a third world war, a religious war between Christianity and Muslim. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu done it specifically and a special reason to take a punishment of those that harm the Jewish people, to get rid of them. If the Jewish people gonna act according to the manual, they have no problem. But Haz v'Shalom if not, they can be harmed because it's a third world war. Hazal giving us the remedy how to survive it. So the end of world actually it's a preparation for a new era for the entire world. That when Mashiach ben David come, no more war. Not only that, ועלו מושעים בהר ציון לשפוט הר עשיו. What do you mean את הר עשיו? They're going to shecht יצר הרע. הקדוש ברוך הוא will hold יצר הרע. You know what it's יצר הרע? It's an angel. Shechten. Finish. No more harm. People will never think evil. People will never think bad. They can't think about it. There's no more. It's finished. So why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't done it now and finish? Nachon? Finish. Why do you have to put us? Rabotai, on Shabbat, I'm going to speak about the shi'ur, the beginning. What does it say there? Shelach lecha anashim. What does it mean, Shelach lecha anashim? We're going to explain, and I'm going to bring what Hazal tell us, and I'm going to bring the verse that Hazal tell us that the person obligated to go and work. Hazal tell us, go and work. You should have an army. I'm going to develop it on Shabbat. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us now to work towards the reward. What's the reward? When the Mashiach comes. That when the Mashiach comes, you earn. After the Mashiach comes, there is no evil inclination. There is no Yetzer Hara. So how can you work on your midot? How can you change your personal characters? You can't. You can do it only now. That's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu given us those difficult times to try to earn more points, that when the Mashiach comes, you're on a different level. You understand? And may please God that we listen to what Hazal tell us. Hazal mean Hachamenu Zichronam Libracha, that we should listen to the advice and take it seriously, and we'll do what Hazal tell us. And then we can survive those difficult times that we are into. And we brought the prophecy that the Malbin explained, that the Navi Yecheszkel said that when you see Bavel nofelet beidei Edom, you know that process already started. Remember when it started? In 2003. That means Bavel, it's Iraq of today. Who conquered it? America and the United Nations, the coalition of those. They took over. So Rabotai, we in a process. Yes, Russell.
Can I ask a controversial question?
If I can answer.
So if you brought here the Malvi, you brought the prophet Yecheszkel, everything in the Chazal. We didn't say this in the Torah.
We're saying it in the Torah.
I mean, you brought from all these places, which is all years and years and thousands of years after the Torah.
What is prophecy? Navi Yecheszkel, it's part of the Tanakh, it's part of the Torah. Tanakh, Torah, Nevi'im, Ktuvim.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the prophecy is part of the Torah. The Malbin is a commentary that he explained what.
We now, with hindsight, can see he's getting
Yes,
right.
yes.
What about a guy, Rabbi Akiva, giving a shiur however many years ago when it wasn't there? How is he giving the same shiur on this end of days? How would he give the same shiur?
You know, I'm not even on the ground that
Okay,
Akiva
but
can stand on.
I'm using someone from years gone by.
I don't know.
I mean, how would they give a shiur?
I wish that I can tell you. I don't know.
Because I mean, we've been.
You know, to be Rabbi Akiva,
I I'm not saying Rabbi Akiva, I'm saying Rabbi Akiva.
Any one of those sages.
Anyone.
We're not on the level. You know, why are you going far? Ask yourself.
Even 500 years ago.
Why 500 years ago? Let's go back. Just 100 years ago, before the state of Israel was existing. How can we explain that? No one will listen. Why? Because when the prophecy been told, no one saw it. The Malbim that lived 206 years ago, born 206 years ago, and he told us, let's say 150 years ago, let's say he was 50 when he told us, let's say, okay? Or 56, whatever. When he told us that, the state of Israel was not exist. No one would believe. Now, let's go to the First World War. If you would say that the war will take a few seconds, would you believe? So obviously, they couldn't say that because people wouldn't understand. Today, we're living in a different situation, different era. You talk here, you talk to someone in America. And funny enough, you can see them also. Do you understand what I'm saying? So today we can absorb, we can understand. Those generations before us, if you would tell them, they wouldn't understand what we're talking about. So they never mentioned that. But because we're living in such a special era that we can see all of that, we can understand. We can, I don't know how to say it, we can feel it actually.